Good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's webinar series, AcuQuality Webinar Series, How to Comply with GMP Standards on QDMS, BIM, and Acumatica. Today, we put together a panel of experts for you from Bimser International, and we'll be talking about GMP standards, and we'll be talking about QDMS, BIM, as well as Acumatica together. As you know, we meet on weekly basis, and we have been talking about different quality management systems so far. As you may remember, we started our series on April 13th with how to comply quality management systems digitally on QDMS and Acumatica, and then we talk about GMP in pharma, medical device, and healthcare industry, and we also talk about ISO 9001 in previous weeks. Following weeks after April 27th, we talked about ISO 13485, and then we covered SQF standards for food industry, if you remember last week. And what we do is we record our webinar sessions, and we publish those videos on our YouTube channel. So when you visit our YouTube channel, Bimser International, you can click playlist, and you can see the list of our recorded webinars from previous weeks. You can watch, you can share with your colleagues, and you can also share it on social media if you find it to be informative for your contacts. Also, I like to talk about what is coming up in terms of AcuQuality Webinar Series. Next week we'll be talking about aerospace and defense industry, especially May 25th is a Memorial Day, so that's important. That's an important day to talk about maybe defense industry. And on June 1st, we'll be talking about how to manage corrective actions digitally. On June 8th, we'll be talking about BRC, compliance requirements in a digital environment. That's also very important for food industry. BRC is a similar quality management system for food industry, but there are certain differences that we'll be addressing, and we'll be also showing in practice in association with Acumatica as well as QDMS. And on June 15th, we'll be talking about how to manage customer complaints digitally in this digital age, basically, while using QDMS as well as Acumatica at the same time. So we have a lot to cover this year. We have our calendar is all packed with AcuQuality Webinar Series, and we are looking forward to it. So if you'd like to register for our coming webinars, please visit our Eventbrite page. You can register, and you can also be notified for coming webinar series as well. Okay, great. So let's get started. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I'm the Managing Director of Bimser International. And first of all, we like to talk about who we are and what we do. Basically, we like to introduce ourselves to you. As Bimser International, we are based in New York, and we have been an enterprise software maker since 1998. We are pretty active in various business communities as well as quality communities, starting with ASQ, American Society for Quality, that we are a part of. We follow, and also we follow many other associations and organizations in business and in manufacturing industries. We also have an internship program called University of Bimser International. We basically teach university students how to do software engineering as well as pre-sales software engineering as part of our internship program. Nowadays, we are getting ready to deploy and start our internship program in a remote environment. So as Bimser International, we are a group of companies. We are also active in Europe, as you see on the map. We are based in New York. So as a group, we are about 200 people. We are a growing organization. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is one of our investors. So with the help and support of European Bank, we have more visibility in international markets, and we have more resources to support our customers, our partners, as well as our ecosystem. As Bimser International, we are ISO 9001 certified and ISO 271 certified. As you see on the screen, we are pretty active in various ERP ecosystems. We are an official Acumatica independent software vendor. We are also a partner of Microsoft. We are a certified SAP vendor, and we are a partner of ISV partner of Myobi in various regions. So I'll be talking about our products, and I'll also explain our position in Acumatica and ERP systems as well. Since 1998, we have been very focused. We focus on our 4 products: EBA, BIM, QDMS, and Ensemble. These 4 products of ours basically are our core focus. And when we look at EBA, that's a workflow engine supported by document management, records management, dashboard, and OCR capabilities. We have BIM as an asset maintenance, energy, and facility maintenance management system. It helps companies manage their assets, machinery, equipment, cars, trucks in a digital environment. And we have QDMS. We'll talk more about QDMS as well. That is our quality, risk, compliance, and audit management system. It helps companies manage their quality management systems in a digital environment with no need of paper. And I'll give you more information about QDMS shortly. And finally, we have Ensemble as our business process management tool to manage companies' performance criteria, as well as its also strategies and also balanced scorecard. In bottom, you can see contract management and EBA ITSM solutions. So since EBA is a platform to manage and develop applications, we have developed contract management solutions to help companies manage their contracts in a digital environment. That is also an Acumatica certified solution. QDMS is Acumatica certified solution to help companies manage their quality management operations, and BIM is also an Acumatica certified solution that's also available in Acumatica Marketplace. So when you look at these slides, you can see how we position our products. Ensemble is a managerial tool with performance and process management capabilities. EBA is a workflow and document management platform. BIM is an asset and maintenance management system. QDMS is a quality management system. They are designed to automate processes. Our systems run standalone. They also are also ready to integrate with each other. And when there is a need, we link to various ERP and CRM systems. Our products work on cloud as well as on-premise servers, and we have mobile apps available. So as you see on the screen, we have delivered many different projects since 1998. When we look at QDMS, we have more than 1,000 customers and more than 1 million users available. And these numbers are getting higher and higher every single month. When you look at BIM, for example, we have more than 15 million assets being managed. So that's also an important number that we like to share. As for EBA, our electronic business automation platform, we have more than 1 million users available with more than 500 corporate customers. So these numbers are increasing. It also shows our expertise in our field, especially when you look at QDMS, our quality management system is the highest number, which we are proud of. Since we are coming originally from enterprise market, we have a lot of customers in enterprise market worldwide, as well as in North America. We work with, for example, 3M. Bridgestone is one of our customers. We work with Pledis. We work with International Paper. We work with United Nations, Unilever as some of our customers, as you see on the screen. Since we are coming from enterprise market, we have a lot of experience also in terms of scaling up. Our products are scalable. They scale up and they scale down. So we are also ready to help and assist companies in mid-market as well, especially companies with multi-locations, growing companies with growing resources and employees and transactions. That is when we actually when you basically can focus on Bimser's product range with quality management, asset management, and also workflow, which will be very, very helpful for you. That we are sure of. So let's talk about GMP a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, we talked about GMP actually in detail in previous weeks, and it's just going to be an overview of that information that I share with you. And then we'll also talk about some other parts of good manufacturing practices, GMP, and compliant GMP, basically. So when we look at GMP, it's basically established by a World Health Organization in the United States. The authorities, FDA, basically, and based on FDA's directives, we basically, as companies, follow those standards and we basically implement them in our companies. So there are different industries actually really subject to the good manufacturing practices, and also there are companies practicing good manufacturing practices, even though they are not subject to an FDA inspection. Many companies actually also practicing GMP, which is also very important. Companies manufacturing and processing and packaging drugs, medical devices, blood, for example. These are basically the main industries that GMP is commonly used, and FDA actually requires them to comply with. There are certain rules that we talk about, as you may remember in the previous weeks. And these are the main rules of good manufacturing practices. As for training, for example, one is to train employees and staff members while complying with GMP. Facilities must be cleaned, and they have to be hygiene, as well as they have to also be managed by the SOPs that we'll talk about in a second. The temperature and humidity needs to be maintained and remotely monitored. The deviations that we may have from any of the SOPs that we have also needs to be investigated, needs to be recorded. And if there is a need, of course, we need to also take corrective action for it. Distribution channels needs to be also managed carefully, and if there is any issues in terms of damage, in terms of drug quality, that needs to be investigated. Also, complaints are very important. We'll have a special session for customer complaints in coming weeks. So if there is any customer complaint regarding the product that we are manufacturing, then it needs to be also thoroughly investigated, and also there needs to be also plans in place. If there is any customer complaint, if there is an issue, what kind of actions the company needs to be actually taking. So all these main rules we talked about a couple of weeks ago, as you may remember, and I also shared my sources in the bottom of the slide. So today we'll be also focusing on facility management, because good manufacturing practices has certain requirements for companies to actually manage when it comes to facility management. So that is also about the hygiene of the manufacturing environment. That's also about the hygiene of the personnel. That is also about the storage, transportation. That's also about laboratories. So we need to also manage the facilities. While we are managing, we also have certain SSOPs, sanitation standard operating procedures. So they basically dictates companies put together certain SOPs for sanitation purposes, and production floors, machinery, machinery, and also the work environment needs to be sanitized and be clean, basically. So how can we manage it basically in a digital environment while using QDMS, while using Lean, and also using Acumatica at the same time? That's what we'll be talking about today. So when we look at quality management, there are reasons we comply with certain quality management and standards. GMP is one of them, for example, as a standard that companies in food as well as drug and pharmaceutical industry need to follow. So the reason we comply as companies, because in this particular case, as for GMP, it's required by FDA. If you're a drug company, if you're in pharma industry, if you're a food company, you have to comply. Also, other than that, in general sense, as for quality standards, customers are requiring, so we need to comply. Competitors are also complying with certain standards, so we need to also be competitive in the marketplace, so we need to also follow the competitors sometimes. Another reason is, for example, to improve operations and also position our company to grow in new markets. Could be international markets or could be national markets. But there are challenges for it. So some of the challenges that we have been hearing from our customers are, for example, there are too much paperwork when you're complying with certain standards. It is difficult to manage the upgrades of these standards as well as documentation. It is hard to take corrective actions for continuous improvement because it's hard to collect data if you're on paper, if you're on Excel sheets, for example. And also it's hard to also manage the evaluation of corrective actions, where we are coming from, what we did before, what kind of corrective actions we have taken, and how to follow this up, basically. That's another challenge. So thanks to digital age, it is possible to manage and address all these challenges. Now it's easier to manage documentation for compliance purposes without the need of paper. It is easier to manage the updates. Also, you can manage your audits. You can manage your also corrective actions digitally. It comes also with follow-ups and notifications. That's much easier than before. And especially if a company is using paper or Excel sheets, Word files, for example, it's very difficult to manage quality management system in that environment. So having this in mind, we have these framework that we put together. We call this proactive management framework. It has 3 pillars: assurance, control, and predict. Assurance basically is the quality management system that you follow. So if you are a medical device company, for example, or if you're a pharma company, you need to have a quality management system in place in addition to FDA regulations. So assuming you're a healthcare, you're a medical device company, so you need to follow, for example, ISO 13485 as for quality assurance. That's basically the system that you need to follow. So the assurance piece dictates control piece. We need to have certain controls in place. These controls may be in manufacturing, before manufacturing, when you are getting the raw material, after manufacturing maybe. And let's keep it in mind, quality assurance system is not only for manufacturing, it's for the entire business practices. So you may want to have controls in your marketing operations, in your purchasing operations. Also, you may want to have controls also in your administrative operations, perhaps. So based on the assurance, quality assurance system that you have, you put together the control, called control operations. And finally, we have the predict. The prediction part is basically directly related to the smart sensors and IoT devices. So remotely you can monitor your machinery and equipment. And in the sense of good manufacturing practices, companies have to monitor the temperature and humidity of workplace and the work environment. So with the help of smart sensors, you can remotely monitor the temperature as well as humidity, noise easily in your organization. So based on this proactive framework that we are addressing assurance, control, and predict, we are addressing these with our product range. Assurance is for our quality, risk and audit and compliance management system, QDMS. Control is addressed by our electronic business process automation platform, EBA, and predict is addressed by BIM, our asset and maintenance management system. So this product range is basically designed for companies to be proactive in business management as well as quality management. Let's talk about QDMS, our quality risk and compliance management system. I'll share some information with you, and I'll give you some examples as well. And then we'll also show you in the demo environment. So you can see it live, how it is basically running. QDMS is a certified Acumatica solution that's available in Acumatica's marketplace. And it is ready to connect with other systems. Acumatica ERP is one of them. It's already connected. If you have a CRM system, if you have a manufacturing execution system, if you have an IoT system, for example, QDMS can connect with web service APIs, can pull and push data, and you can basically automate your corrective actions, non-conformities, other quality-related operations easily in digital environment. One of the advantages of QDMS, and we get this question all the time, you can manage multiple quality management systems in QDMS. Maybe you are compliant with ISO 13485. Maybe you are compliant with GMP. Maybe at the same time, you are compliant with ISO 14000 for environment quality management systems, for example. So you can manage all these in QDMS at the same time. It has a web-based architecture, meaning once QDMS is ready for you to use, you can access from anywhere via web browser, just like connecting any other website, basically. It's a permission-based system. It has high security features, so the data that you have, that you generate, is secure. And since that's a user-friendly system, once we basically provide the training, the companies using QDMS, they don't need any other outside consultants or IT support or anything else. Basically, they can manage the system themselves. So quality departments are typically, quality and compliance departments are typical admins of QDMS. As I mentioned earlier, QDMS works on cloud as well as on-premise servers, so that's a great advantage in this digital age. And one of the advantages is QDMS has modular structure, meaning there are more than 30 modules available on QDMS. Customers can pick and choose what they need based on their need, based on what they are compliant with. So we have, for example, control document management. That's where companies, you can manage your documents as in policies, procedures, SOPs, SSOPs, and other forms that you can generate, you can manage. You can also manage the versioning, and you can also notify your team members when there is a new version of any document in terms of policies and procedures, for example. You can manage your corrective action, which is very important for continuous improvement. If you remember, we talked about ISO, and ISO has certain principles, which is actually very universal quality management principles, 7 principles, if you remember. So one of them is actually continuous improvement. So for one to basically improve processes, you need feedback. You need to hear from your customers, from your team members, from your stakeholders. Then you can take the corrective actions and you can manage them in QDMS. Audit management module is also very important for compliance purposes. Also, we'll also show you today how to run audit management module, followed by survey module, training and calibration module. One of the modules I actually find it to be very important is management review module. It's part of action management module. That's where actually management can review what is going on in the system, in the company, in terms of quality management, which is part of a management commitment actually, so that management can commit to manage the quality management system, and management can also manage it. Let me share some information about BIM as well, because that's basically touching facility management, part of good manufacturing practices, and we'll also show you in our live environment before we go to the Q&A session. So BIM is our asset maintenance and facility management system. It is also an Acumatica certified solution. It helps companies manage their assets. So these assets may be buildings, facilities, machinery, and equipment. So as I mentioned earlier, a good manufacturing practices has certain requirements. One of them is actually having a sanitized, clean work environment. So companies needs to clean the machinery, equipment, as well as sanitation is very important. So all these can be managed in QDMS. It has a modular structure. It also generates certain KPIs in terms of maintenance, in terms of facility management, how often you do the maintenance, how often a certain part of the machinery and equipment actually breaks down, for example. You can get all these KPIs. And the benefit of this solution is basically in the bottom of this screen is you can reduce your failure 40 to 80%. These are the figures that we are getting from our customers. Also, the maintenance cost can be reduced 15 to 20%, because once BIM is actually up to date and running, not only you can manage your good manufacturing practices requirements, also you can manage your maintenance operations, and you can be proactive, basically, so that can help you reduce your maintenance costs. It has a modular structure. So the asset management, maintenance management is in the facility management, and we'll show you also in action, and spare part and personnel management. These are the basic core modules of BIM, supported by purchasing module, energy management module, and dashboard. System is user-based, as I mentioned. It is also multi-location, so you can manage multiple locations in the system. It has multi-language and multi-currency capabilities. Some of our customers, they have multiple locations in different regions. So different currencies in place, different language options sometimes needed. So that is also available in BIM for asset and maintenance management. So when we look at maintenance management in core, just like production, it brings three things together: man, machine, and material, 3M. So that is exactly what BIM is doing. It brings the machinery is in asset together. In this case, we'll be talking about facility management. It also brings the man, as in who's going to be doing the, for example, sanitation, cleaning to comply with good manufacturing practices. So you can also manage your man, as in your staff members, your team members, your maintenance team members, or subcontractors in BIM. And material, what kind of material, spare parts you'll be using for maintenance or facility management purposes, for example. You can manage all these digitally in BIM. Similar to QDMS, it is ready to connect with various systems to pull and push data. You can connect to IoT devices to get, for example, smart sensors results, as in vibration, as in temperature, for example, humidity. And if there is anything unusual, it can trigger automatic work orders for cleaning and also for taking care of the environment. BIM is already integrated with Acumatica to pull and push data. Asset information, spare parts already coming from Acumatica with web service APIs. And the idea is basically on the slide is to basically automate the operations. Once if there is anything unusual going on in terms of, let's say, temperature, let's say vibration, BIM can automatically pick up that message and triggers a work order. And the work order can be basically done. Once it's done, it's closed, then the reports are generated in the system so that management can see the costs as well as reaction time and other details. BIM has a dashboard so that you can see your KPIs as in labor cost, facility management cost, for example, and the frequency of facility management operations to comply with GMP. You can see all these in the system. And on the asset management module, you can record your facilities. You can manage your laboratories, you can manage your floors, you can manage your buildings, and you can basically manage your property in a way that you can keep it clean, hygienic, you can sanitize it, and you can record it in the system. That is very important to comply with good manufacturing practices. And maintenance management module is designed to help you manage your sanitization processes, as in periodic maintenance and also preventive maintenance formats. Material management part is basically to help you manage your spare parts. In the case of Acumatica, spare part information is coming from Acumatica, and you can manage your spare parts here while you are actually executing your maintenance operations. And personnel management module is designed to help you manage the skill set of your team members, as in maintenance management team members. Typically, maintenance teams take care of the facility management operations, maybe fixing certain parts, sometimes sanitations, or there may be different sections in the maintenance management team, different groups. You can manage all of them. And we also have a calendar where you can see who is assigned to what kind of activities. So if I am assigned to work, let's say tomorrow 9 o'clock, you'll be seeing it on the calendar. And tomorrow 9 o'clock, I won't be available to be assigned for another task, for instance. So that basically helps you manage your team members and your resources. There is a mobile app available both for QDMS and Beam, so that you can manage your quality management operations, and facility management operations with the mobile device. So you may be on a business trip, for example. You may be away from your desk. Then you can access the data, quality management and facility management details, as well as you can get notifications with the help of the mobile device, which is very, very practical. Okay, great. So up to now, we talk about who we are and what we do as Bimser International. We talk about good manufacturing practices on a high level. Also, if you'd like to learn more about good manufacturing practices, I encourage you to visit our YouTube channel. There is a more detailed webinar session available about good manufacturing practices. And also we talk about QDMS, our quality management software, and we also talk about Beam for asset maintenance and especially facility management for good manufacturing practices. Now, we'd like to show you in action how you can manage your quality management operations, how you can manage your facility management operations. So for that, I'd like to invite my colleague, Sam Watt, our pre-sales software engineer. So he put together our demo environment, and he'll be talking about QDMS on a high level, and then he'll be talking about audit management module. So one of the questions that we keep getting from audience is that how do we actually run QDMS as well as Acumatica as well as Beam together? That's a common question that we hear. Also, Sam will be showing you how QDMS and Acumatica actually will be working together. They are working together, and we'll be showing you in a minute. Sam, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. I'll stop sharing so you can take the virtual stage.
Okay.
I can.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you.
Nice. And thank you for joining today's webinar. And this is Sam at Bimser International. So now you can see Acumatica. And what I'm going to show you is how they can work together and also work on the same page. So after logging into Acumatica, so we can find our QDMS right in Acumatica page, which means you can manage QDMS here on your right. And if needed, you can always get back to the fields or the category in Acumatica, since they are showed in the same page. And what you can see now is the homepage of QDMS. So you can find all your pending tasks and requests right on this home screen. So you can click on the widget and get a quick connection and proceed this request. For example, like the document that you have to add your comment, or at least waiting for your approval. and the audit that you have to perform. So you can find all of those right in the homepage after you log into QDMS. It's helped you to, and it's make sure you won't miss any important part or request for complying with GMP. So for example, like a new regulation or policy is going to publish in QDMS, so that you can find those requests for approval right after you log in to QDMS. And on the top left, this is the main menu of QDMS. You can find all the available modules under this menu. And keep in mind, QDMS is a permission-based system. So not everyone can see everything in the system. So the user account that I'm logging in as is the admin account. You can find the information on the top right. So now I'm logging in as Bimser Int, and it is an administrator in the system. So I have the full control of the system and can see all the functions and all the modules in QDMS. For example, like a document management module, complaints, corrective action, and so on. And today, I will talk about the audit module, which allows you to create and manage the audit for your employee of different departments, and also the audit that you for your vendor, supplier, or subcontractor. And let's get started. So now, first of all, you can create your audit planning, which allows you to create the plan for your audit operations. So considering like the plan is the goal that you want to achieve, like an internal audit planning, or like supplier audit plan. Okay. And after creating the plan, then you can create your audit item. The audit item is like the objective. It's helped you to achieve the goal that you defined in the system, which is the audit planning. So you can invite different auditee in different departments while you're creating the audit item. So let's say we are going to create a new one, and then you can add the audit code and the topic or subject that you are going to have in this audit item, like it is IT internal audit or operational audit, or auditing your supplier or vendor. And after that, you can pick and choose the audit date. So saying next Wednesday till, for example, next Thursday. And the audit time right here as well. So you can put the audit subject and pick and choose the auditor and auditee while you're creating this audit item. And if there is any attachment, can be a reference or supporting document for the auditor, then you can attach right here. So after creating your audit item, this audit request will be sent to the auditor like a notification in QDMS and also in his or her email inbox. And the auditee will also receive a reminder in QDMS and in their email as a notification that this audit is created and you are the auditee. It's make sure no one will miss any audit right after this audit item is created. One more important thing in this audit module is you can always pick and choose the question as a reference for the auditor. So you don't have to prepare like 5 pages of question for the auditor and for each auditee in this audit item. And instead, those will be digitized in QDMS, which means you are ready to carry out your audit every single day. So you can anytime add more questions For example, this one, are the company standard to be upheld? And then add this as a reference question for the auditor. So when the auditor is carrying out or is having the audit to the auditee, so he can refer the question in this planning and ask the required question and update the answer for different attendee or auditee. And after performing it, so we can update and show the result of your audit, like the answer of the auditee they have answered in the system. And in the audit module, there's a reporting tool allows you to create the ready-made report. For example, like the audit score report or the audit history report. So considering like the people asking you, show me, or the auditor asking you, let me rephrase, like the standard auditor, not the actual auditor for your audit, but the standard auditor come to your place and ask you to show me the audit history. So how to perform your audit so that you can bring this up on your screen and show it to the auditor. So this is so far the audit that I have in my company, and I didn't miss any department, and we can always retrieve the result of this audit and show it to the standard auditor. And also, there's a graphical reporting tool that you can utilize. And you can put your condition to this graphical report. For example, like you want to see how many audits that we carry out in our company for complying certain management system or standard. Then we can set this up on your left, and also pick and choose the time frame, considering like say, starting from last year, and then draw our graph here. A standard or how many audits that you have that it is taking place in your company for complying with certain standard, and it will be shown in a bar chart, and you are more than welcome to export this into different file format. For example, like PDF, Excel, or image for sharing with any responsible parties. So this is how we can digitize your audit operation in QDMS. Again, it's helped you to be ready to have your audit every day, so you won't and you do not need to prepare any paper for your audit operation in your company. Besides, you can also find the QC process, or we can also digitize your QC process in QDMS, which I can show you is here. For example, this is the QC process as purchase order quality control, so that you can fill in the form and get your purchase order. And keep in mind, this purchase order or the list of your purchase order is coming from Acumatica. So we capture all the information from Acumatica, and you can pick and choose the purchase order, and the rest of the information will be filled automatically, like the vendor name, the type, promised on date, and also the item in this purchase order. You can also set up the expiration date. For example, like while you're complying with GMP, so some of your material is for like a chemical, so they all have an expiration date. So you can set this up and ask QDMS to send you a reminder and carry out the quality control lab test again. And you can set up your workflow based on the operation, the actual operation or the actual flow in your company. So once it is updated, and it will be reflect on this digitized workflow. And then after filling all the information, then we can send this. So what you will see is you can lab test and record the result in this business process. And what you can see right here is all the quality control process that I carry out. And you can anytime retrieve it and show it in your screen. You can get back to your lab result. And the system will see if it is out of range, it will be highlighted in red and mark the inspection result as failed. If it is within the range, so you will see it in just a normal text box and nothing will be highlighted. And considering there is a fail in your quality control, so that you can carry out your corrective action right in Acumatica. And you can see right here, and all the fields will be filled automatically by QDMS, like the PO number and who is the vendor, and what's happening as the non-conformity, and it will be shown in QDMS or in corrective action module in QDMS as known as CAPA module. So, and next is, again, QDMS is integrated with Acumatica, so you can find the exact same information in QDMS as you can see or as you can find in Acumatica. For example, like the supplier name. So we can make our search and anytime use the search box provided. And these are all the supplier name that we have in Acumatica, which is in the vendor category. So saying go to vendor, Exeter, automatic data processing. So those are the vendor name that we have recorded in Acumatica. And it will be pulled to QDMS, and you can find all the exact same vendor name in QDMS, which means the integration between QDMS and Acumatica, it is working perfectly fine in our product. Thank you, Kevin. And this is my demonstration of QDMS.
Thank you for the demonstration. Appreciate it. Yes, that's very important to talk about audits, because we need to audit our suppliers, our vendors, based on good manufacturing practices requirements. Also, it is great that you also show the quality control piece. That's very important during manufacturing. For any company, first of all, quality control is very important. Since today we are focusing on good manufacturing practices for those companies in healthcare, pharma, food industry, quality control is even more important to comply with good manufacturing practices. So in that sense, that was great to see QDMS interacting with Acumatica on one screen, so you don't have to jump from one screen to another. Okay, great. So what I like to do is I like to invite my colleague Numan, and he actually put together a dashboard that he likes to show us. So one of the important things is actually in terms of quality management is incident management. So there are certain incidents happen in an organization when you are manufacturing, for example, when you are doing distribution operations, and based on the quality management standards that you follow, maybe ISO, maybe SQF or any other standard, basically, for you to learn from your from the incidents, basically, you need to put together a report and you need to actually analyze it. And one of the important part is that you need to actually keep record of it. And based on these records, basically, you can do certain analysis and you can learn certain lessons and you can share with your team members. And from management point of view, the KPI is actually how many incidents actually take place in certain time periods. what are the reasons, what type of incidents are there, and from the managerial point of view, seeing these KPIs in a digital environment, especially with dashboards, is actually priceless. So that's why we like to show you a KPI dashboard that's actually talking about, presenting about incident management. Norman, if you are ready, I'll make you the presenter. And we'll go from there.
Sure, Kevin.
Let's see.
Can you make me presenter?
Right away. Okay, great.
Okay. First, I want to introduce myself. I am Numan. I am software engineer at Bimser International. I will show you our demo, our dashboard example. Let's go to our dashboard. So, first of all, dashboard can be designed for every module. We created the dashboard for incident management module based on most needed data. There are 7 different locations for incident management. And also there are 4 different results of accident. For instance, deadly accident, sent to hospital, or material damage. In this bar graph, we see the total missing day count according to the different locations in last 3 years. There is Australia, Brazil, Holland, and etc. How many missing days there are in different location and different years? You can see the changes in locations owing to this graph. And also we see some donuts here. In these donuts, we see some details about total missing day count according to the result of accident. How many days you missed because of deadly incident or material damage. Of course, we can show the numbers as percentage. You can see, for instance, 50% in this area. And also, sorry for this is my bad. In addition to these dashboards, we are gonna see a map right now. Yes, we see our map here. We see marked locations on a map in different locations. We edit locations, longitude and latitude to the database. When we click the locations, for instance, Australia, our data will be shown the table below here. When we change the location, we see different informations about our locations. And the most important thing is that you can search your incidents with a registration code or incident type or departments. And also you can sort your informations as year or as month. Actually, our dashboard is like this, but as I mentioned, dashboards can be created according to your requirements. Which data you'd like to see on dashboard, or what do you want to see as dashboard? For instance, bar graph, pie chart, or table. Everything depends on your requests.
Thank you, Norman. Much appreciated. Great demonstration.
You are welcome.
So as we see in Norman's demonstration, there are different ways to get the KPIs. Dashboard is very important, especially for managers. You can get the results in a visual environment, and you can analyze it quickly and process the data accordingly. That's one of the advantages. And in this particular case, we focus on the incident management. It's because that is very realistic. It happens all the time in an organization. We can analyze it, we can learn from it, and one of the requirements of quality management is actually continuous improvement. So we learn from the incidents, we analyze it, and based on the lessons learned, we take certain precautions, corrective actions. And we share these lessons learned and corrective actions with our team members, and that's how we can basically support our culture for continuous improvement, which is very, very important. In that sense, we want to share this dashboard with you in a digital environment, and you had a chance to see what kind of what type of actually KPIs you are able to see and you're able to track. Also, let's keep it in mind, we keep our contact information on the screen. So in case you like to have one-to-one meetings, you like to have detailed conversation later on, we can always meet and we can talk more in detail about your challenges for quality management, and we can show you more in detail based on your expectations. Great, thank you so much, Nuna, for the demonstration. Great, so what I like to do is I like to invite back Sam. So we like to talk about BEAM right now, our asset and maintenance management system for facility management. As I mentioned earlier, from the point of good manufacturing practices, companies, especially those in food, pharma, medical device industry, they need to keep their facilities clean, hygiene, and sanitized. So we need to manage these thoroughly and carefully. In that sense, BEAM, our asset maintenance, facility, and energy management system, is actually a perfect solution for these tasks. And by the fact that just like QDMS, BEAM is also Acumatica certified solution, that makes these two systems, Acumatica and BEAM, as well as QDMS, work actually much easier for you, because the data can be exchanged almost instantly. Sam, are you ready for BEAM demonstration?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. You can keep it on high level, and let's see if a company likes to manage facility management operations, how they can actually benefit from BEAM. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. And can you see my screen? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, nice. And then Sam's back. So again, you can connect to BEAM in your Acumatica page, since the BEAM is integrated with Acumatica, and those like the asset information and also your employee information, they are coming from Acumatica to our product BEAM. Okay, and in order to get you a better view, so I'm going to do it right here, logging in as just a new tab in my web browser. The reason I'm doing that is because you can have a better, you can view like the dashboard. It is ready for example, it is very important for a manager to monitoring the performance and also the KPI of the company. So right after they log into BEAM, so they can see this dashboard right on the home screen. And considering the top left widget, it is different location of your company. So you can choose or make a pick and choose right here on this widget. And you can see the real-time data change accordingly. So for example, like the material cost and also the open work order count or the closed work order count, it will be shown, or the real-time data will be shown in this dashboard. So it's helped you to keep tracking how it is going in your company in different locations. And on the top left, and excuse me, so I'm going. This is the main menu, and it will be shown in your screen. I'm going to log in back to my system, so that I can find my main menu. The reason why I have to do this again, because this is one of the security features in BEAM. So if you stay idle on your page, so it will lock you out, and it's helped you not no other person can manage your account while maybe you stayed idle and forgot to log out in BEAM. So this is the main menu of BEAM, and you can find different available modules in your system. And again, since I'm now logging in as the admin, so I have the full control of BEAM. And BEAM is a permission-based system, so it will you will see what you are supposed to see based on your role, position, profession, departmental group. And in the asset module, you can upload your blueprint or floor plan in this graphical asset tree and pinpoint the location of your facilities or equipment. For example, like the manufacturing machine. And you can move your cursor on this dot and find the basic information of your equipment or machinery. So this is one of yours, and we can click it and create a work request. And once there is a maintenance operation is assigned to this asset, it will be shown in red automatically. So, and it is dynamic in the system, which means once it is created, and we will change the color that you can see in this graphical asset tree. You can also find the asset list in this module, which showed all the information of your asset in a list. For example, like the location, department, and also the name and the asset code. You can find all of those here for in terms of, for example, like a facility management, or for different departments like manufacturing department or packing. So those can be found here, and anytime you can use the search button provided on the top and find the exact asset that you want to interact with. And in order to help you to comply with GMP or SSOP, so that in the maintenance module, you can create your work order here, or sanitizing your machinery or sanitizing the floor. So you can create your work order here in BIM. So those will be digitized, and you don't need any other paper to fill in or handwriting in your form. So you can create a new one. For example, like I have different like type or work order type that you can pick and choose and create it. And then what you will see on your page is a detailed form that you can pick and choose the asset code and the department, the priority, and also scheduled date that you want to have. Again, for example, like sanitizing your machinery. So you can pick and choose the work type here, like cleaning, and then maybe cleaning the floor, and then schedule it, pick and choose the date in a calendar view, and enter the request like for complying with SSOP, and then parenthesis GMP, let's say, and then we can assign it to a particular team or employees for carry out this particular action, and pick and choose the spare part that we record in BIM. And if there is any third party is involved for this cleaning task, so that we can pick and choose here, for example, like the vendor or subcontractor, so that we can pick and choose here and attach any document that can be a reference or supporting document to the operator or to the employee. And all the costs will be calculated by BIM automatically, so that you can have an idea how much it costs your company for this cleaning task. And in every module, you can find the reporting tool, which allows you to the ready-made report, since BIM providing over 10,000 ready-made report. So it's helped you to keep tracking how it is going and what you want to know by creating the report in BIM. And you can find the graphical report here as well. And similar to the one I showed you in QDMS. So you can make some condition in this page. So for example, I want to check the service cost and also the total cost, and add this to the right and draw our graph. So those will be shown to here in a bar chart. And anytime you can export this report into PDF, Excel, or image for sharing with any responsible parties. It's come to the end of my demonstration of Beam. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Sam, for the demonstration. In the scope of good manufacturing practices, facility management is very important. So as seen in the demonstration, you can manage your facilities, your building, your manufacturing environment, your shop floor, basically, as well as your machinery and equipment at the same time to comply with good manufacturing practices. Now of course, today we focus on the good manufacturing practices from the facility management point of view, which is very, very important. So Beam is already ready to help you for that as well. Okay, great. Thank you so much for the demonstration. Now we come to our Q&A session. Let's see what kind of questions we have in our chat box. We got some questions to address. So one of the questions that I'd like to address is, let me see, I have actually a bunch. Okay, so as for facility management to comply with good manufacturing practices, how do I manage the tasks for sanitation as well as for cleaning? I think by task, I think you mean the steps, from my understanding. So that I can address in Beam, there's the steps section that you actually define your steps for a certain task. Let's say you like to sanitize your machinery. What kind of step that needs to be taken? The machine needs to be cleaned, and then the parts, maybe some certain part needs to be maybe taken out. And then you need to do certain cleaning, and then you need to use maybe certain chemicals for sanitization. So these are all steps, and each step may have certain percentage, by the way. So every time you take a step, you have progress, then the percentage of that certain task actually can be increasing at the same time within B. That is basically how you are managing it. And we love to show it to you. I mean, our email address is on the screen. Please just send us an email. We can schedule a one-to-one meeting, and we can show you in more detail as to how you can do it. We'll be happy to do that. I hope that addresses. So is there any mobile app for QDMS as well as for Beam for quality management? Yes. Both QDMS as well as Beam, they have mobile apps available. So with the help of mobile app, you can manage all your tasks. If we talk about QDMS, for example, you can see all your notifications, you can see all your reminders, you can see all the modules that you are using, and you can also take action in QDMS. Same thing with Beam. There are most of the all of your activities that you are assigned to, you can actually take action, and you can record it in Beam. If you go to, let's say, a facility, let's say you go to a first floor, second floor, a certain unit, you can scan a barcode or a QR code, for example, to identify that asset as in that unit in the facility. So you can also see the details right away. You can take action. You can record it accordingly, which is very, very practical. Mobile apps are very popular nowadays. That's why we have the native mobile apps for our products. They work also in Android, as well as iOS devices for iPhones and iPads and such. Is there notifications as well as reminders for these systems? Yes, so both systems, QDMS as well as Beam, they have reminders and they have notifications. Let's say I am assigned to, do a certain task. For example, let's say I need to take a training, for example. I need to, let's say, clean a certain work environment, for example, in manufacturing section of the company, for instance. If I'm assigned, I get a notification. I also get the deadlines, how much time I have to get that done. And once I do it, I can actually close the task on me, and that notification goes back to my superior. If there is any reminding needed, for example, system also reminds you have 2 days to complete this task. You have 3 days to complete this task. And if I don't complete it, it also escalates to my superior, for example. Kevin is assigned for this task. It has been, a day or 3 days or 2 days has been done. So all these notifications are actually in place in both systems. That basically helps you run the business, run the operations on a daily basis. Let's see if there's any other questions. So how do I manage my SOPs? Because each SOP may be different from company to company? I think that's a good question. So standard operating procedure is not a standard. It's not standard for every company. So you need to design it for your own company. You may be a farm, you may be a pharma company, you may be a medical device company. So certain procedures needs to be written down, and you can so that you can actually put them in action digitally. That's very important. So for that purpose, you can use either QDMS. It has also a task section. We call this action management module. Within the action management module, when you assign someone a task, you can also break down the steps that one needs to take. So that is very practical. In the sense of facility management, as I mentioned earlier, Beam has work step functionalities, meaning you can break down the certain task so that technician or the employee, when she goes to the work environment, then he or she can follow the steps basically. So these are that's available in both systems, which is very important, by the way, and it's challenging. It is already difficult to put things together for your own company, and once you put this together, you need to make sure it's actually being implemented by team members. In that sense, both QDMS and Beam actually are very helpful. Can you tell us about the integration points of QDMS and Acumatica, Beam and Acumatica? Yes, definitely. So Sam addressed very briefly. I can also cover it. So as for QDMS, we are taking all the master data from QDMS, all the employees, vendors, products, as well as customer information goes to QDMS, and from there on, you basically take action as to corrective actions, customer complaints, audits, trainings, and so on. If there is any data needs to be sent back to Acumatica, for example, it can easily be scheduled between two systems with web service API. We do it pretty quickly. As for Beam, as we mentioned earlier, we are taking all the master data, just like we do for QDMS. On top of it, we get the asset management and spare part information, so that you know what type of assets you have coming from Acumatica. You can manage them in Beam. And as for Beam maintenance operations, you can also manage the maintenance operations based on the asset information coming from Acumatica ready-made. On top of it, there is a spare part of things. So all the spare parts that you have in Acumatica's inventory management section goes into Beam automatically. So once you enter it in Acumatica, consider it available in Beam, simply. So we do further integrations based on any project. So if your company needs to send or pull more information to or from Acumatica and to from Beam, for example, or QDMS, that is basically we do it with the web service APIs smoothly. That is available, and that makes things much easier. By the way, because the idea is for you to have integrated management system in place. So there will be no double entry needed. Once you put these data into the system, it goes to Beam, it goes to QDMS, it can go back to Acumatica. So that is very important for having an integrated management system in a digital environment. I think I addressed all the questions. I'm actually looking at it right now. Looks like I addressed all the questions. Okay, great. So before we end the session, I'd like to invite you again to our YouTube channel, Bimser International YouTube channel, and we have a playlist where you can actually see the recordings of previous week's webinars. So you can see, you can watch, you can share with your team members. Please feel free, and it's available. Today's webinar recording will be also available in our YouTube channel. And we'd like to also invite you to our coming webinar sessions on May 25th, next week, next Monday, I must say. We'll be talking about AS9100 in the scope of aerospace as well as defense industry, which is also a very important industry for the nation. And we'll be talking about QDMS, how you can comply with AS9100 standard digitally on QDMS and Acumatica at the same time. We'll be showing you. And if you notice today, we perform our demonstration in both systems together, Acumatica as well as QDMS as well as Beam together. So we'll be doing the same thing next week, and we'll be talking about AS9100 as well. What type of standard it is, what type of requirements it has, and how you can manage it digitally. So please visit our Eventbrite page, and please register for our coming webinar sessions. We will be happy to see you. And in the bottom, you can also see our website as well as our email address if you'd like to contact us, if you'd like to continue this conversation, if you'd like to schedule one-to-one meeting, and if you if you'd like to schedule a meeting and ask questions, definitely welcome it. I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for great questions that you share with us, and thank you for your interest. We look forward to seeing you next Monday, and we'll be talking about defense industry, aerospace industry, AS9100, and how to comply digitally those standards with the help of QDMS as well as Acumatica. I wish you a nice day and looking forward to seeing you next Monday. Thank you. Have a nice day.